What's going on, everybody out there in YouTube land? It's your guy Q, the movie collector, here again, back with another 4K video review. And on today's video, we're going to be talking about some J-horror. Yep, some J-horror. And if you're interested in videos like this and want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're at it, hit that like button. I would definitely appreciate that if you did. So, on today's video, again, we're going to be talking about some J-horror. I picked up a title that I saw that was part of Arrow's slate of releases. I think it was last month. And when I saw it, I thought it was probably the original film of it until I saw screenshots from what the movie was. And that movie is none other than 2002. Yeah, 2002. 2002's The Eye. So yeah, this is an Arrow release, as you know, typical slipcover fashion. And I'll let you guys take a good look at what it has as far as the features are concerned. So yeah, The Eye. So this movie was made by the Pang brothers. Known for doing Bangkok Dangerous, I think that's what it was. I've never actually seen that movie before, but I know it's a classic of some sorts. And I also know the Pang brothers are infamous for, you know, stretching out a budget, working within its limits and being able to make some pretty nice, incredible stuff. So with this movie, The Eye, they went with this story about this girl named Wong, or I think she went by Mom. She's a blind musician who decides to take up this treatment to allow her to see again. And she's been blind since, I think it said, the age of 3. I think that's what they said. But she goes through this procedure to have this operation so she can see again. They take the bandages off, and it hurts her to actually even look at light, which makes sense because, you know, she's been blinded. But anyway, so with the support of her grandmother and a few friends and whatnot, they start to help her out. But then she befriends this girl that's battling cancer in the hospital, and I think her name was Ying Yang. But it's a nice little heartwarming relationship between the two, because she's like, oh well, when you're able to see really good, we can take pictures and hang out together and things of that nature. So as time goes on and she's recovering in the hospital, she starts to see shadow figures, and she can't make out what they are or who they are. But she thinks it's a person or whatnot. So then when she's finally dispatched to go home, because at this point she's actually able to see, when she's out there in the real world, she starts being able to see things, and she's seeing people and talking to people, until one day she starts talking to this little boy that's her next door neighbor. And the little boy is asking her, you know, where's my report card? Have you seen my report card? I need it. And she's like, no, I haven't seen your report card, and I'm sorry that you've lost it. And so then the boy keeps coming around, and then her grandmother takes heed to her watching her talk to this little boy. Her grandmother don't see her talking to anybody, so her grandmother thinks she's crazy. So at this point, you kind of get the idea she's talking to a ghost, or so we think. And then later on, you find out the boy jumped out of a window. It's not funny, but he jumped out of a window. And then she starts seeing more and more of these ghost figures, and it terrifies her. So then she goes to meet up with a psychiatrist friend of hers, who happens to be the nephew of the doctor that did the procedure. And they go through and try to find out the research behind whose eyes these were that were in her socket. And they discovered that it belonged to some lady who basically, you know, Yeah, I don't want to say it because I don't want to get I don't want to get in trouble for it. But but yeah, so then they go and do research, find out the girl's eyes that she has in her head actually belong to a girl that saw premonitions of people before they died. And knowing that she sees the premonition of them and then knowing what's going to happen to them was a terrifying thing. I'll leave it at that. The movie was really good. This movie came out in a time period that J horror was really rising up. It was starting to become like the big thing. You know, you have The Ring, you have The Grudge, and then you have The Eye. Funny how they all have the in front of them, but anywho, this was at a time period I remember growing up that J horror was starting to make a massive rise, and at the same time, in the States, here in the States, the studios were getting wind of this and started to make their own versions of it. Hence The Ring, The Grudge, and also The Eye. The version that came out here was the one that had Jessica Alba in it. I think I remember a little bits and pieces about that one. I didn't really watch it. So hopefully they come back around to re-releasing it. So I don't know. I may have to pick it up on Blu-ray or something and check it out. But I enjoyed this one, man. There was some really creepy moments in this movie. And Arrow did a phenomenal job with this as well. One of the moments that got me was when she got on the elevator and there was this guy who just kept kind of like, you could see him floating and he was coming up to her to tap her on the shoulder. That kind of creeped me out a little bit. And then the ending of the movie was one of those things where she knows what's going to happen, but can't do anything about it. It's a very terrifying feeling to know this very disastrous thing is supposed to happen and she can't do anything. But all that to say is that if you're into J horror, I highly suggest you guys pick this up. It's a really, really good J horror film. Arrow, I mean, they rolled out the red carpet for this. What can I say? They include, let's see here, the movie is presented in Dolby Vision with HDR10, with the original lossless Cantonese DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. It also has a stereo audio track on here as well. I thought the audio track sounded great. I thought it sounded amazing. There's also Reflections on the Eye, brand new interview with producer Peter Ho Sun Chan. That was a really good one. You got to really find out from him about working with the Pang brothers, about how they collaborated and worked on a lot of projects together, and how the idea of this movie spanned from a very disastrous thing that happened in Taiwan back in the early 90s, and it pretty much spanned on from there. It's a really good sit down interview. To see in the field, vision, empathy, and feminine ghost story in the eye. Brand new visual essay on the film by critic and horror specialist Heather Wixon. I need to go back and watch that. As I don't know if you guys know, I'm not the world's biggest fan of video essays. But then you've got all the archival stuff that's on here. Which, I mean, Arrow, if you know Arrow, they load these things up. But anywho, let's talk about the transfer. I thought the transfer looked really, really good. I mean, it was a very filmic look. I mean, nice natural grain. The colors popped. During the hospital scenes, I thought it looked incredible. And even the outdoor scenes looked really good as well, too. But there is one thing I gotta let people know about this movie, and I wish I would have filmed the footage of it when I was watching it. If you have a Panasonic 820 player like I do, this is another Arrow video title where the Dolby Vision does not work. It just does not work on the Panasonic. Now, I've got a Sony in the living room. I may test it out later and maybe chime in the comments to let you know what I find out if it works on a Sony player. But as it stands, this is just like with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, where the Dolby Vision doesn't work on the Panasonic 820. The HDR10 worked, and that's how I was able to watch this. I love Arrow to death. I just wish that they would do proper testing for that when they make these releases to make sure every player actually works. Because not trying to throw Arrow under the bus, but they never go back and do fixes on discs. I think it's very rare they actually do it. I think the last one I remember them doing was the one for, what was that movie? The Sale. That was the last one I remember them doing a fix for, and they sent it out. It shouldn't have to be like pulling teeth to reissue another disc. That's just my major gripe about it. If you're a fan of J-horror and like movies like this, like movies like The Ring, like movies like The Grudge, or Ju-On the Grudge, I highly recommend this title, man. It's a really good movie. It's a really, really good J-horror movie. Yeah, that's the eye. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and if you like this video as well as my other videos, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely do appreciate it. I appreciate each and every last one of you guys has been chiming in the comments. Speaking of which, let me know of some J-horror titles that even I may not even know anything about. I want to know about it. Let me know. I I want to have that discussion below. Like, what's some of you guys' favorite J-horror movies to watch besides the obvious ones? Because I want to dive a little deeper into it and watch more titles. But anywho, that's the video, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.